home. Like I was already working, like doing stuff.
You're
So
like,
not a lot
nothing's
changed.
a lot.
I'm like, where the hell? I'm like Bill Hicks, where the hell's all this happening out there? The only panel I was on was like drugs and writing. Like, and I was like, what?
Wait,
Why
what?
am I? You guys are in the van outside, so you know that. But
Yes,
Exactly.
exactly.
Right, we know where you
exactly.
live. Yeah.
Totally.
We are the Front Page Pass, brought to you by Word Journeys. All right, so welcome to Front Page Pass, brought to you by Word Journeys. I am your host, Alexa, and we are here with our podcast producer, Trevor, and also a really awesome author that we happened to meet at the horror convention in Nashville. So, John Wayne, and he's done quite a few.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Yeah, well, he's done quite a few works. Just to list a few, and Hell Followed, which was a collaborative effort between you and various authors to depict the biblical apocalypse, death pacts, and left-hand paths. Mage of the Hellmouth, and The Cycle, and many more. So it's good to be with you.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Thanks for having me, guys.
I guess first thing we'll start off is, how did your journey into writing become a thing? I checked out your site a couple days ago, and I saw that you do a lot of stuff. But what got you into writing? Like, did you just see it like as another outlet for your media, or have you always been into it?
Well, I've been writing all my life. I was always good at writing, like as a kid, and I just liked to read and write a lot as like a young child. And like I was a young child, and I would just write stories and shit. And I just kept doing it, and that's where I excelled in school. And I didn't really not the classic, like I hated school, but I certainly didn't want to go to college. But when I was there, like the only thing I was good at was writing. So I found out that I could get a degree in that. So I just took those classes because I could get A's in them. But so I've just been writing like since I was a kid, but professionally, for like probably 5.5 years, if you want to say that. But like
that's
that's like many years of submitting without being published professionally before that.
Right. And that's a whole process in and of itself. I mean, good God. Yeah, so is that kind of what what led into the segue of whenever you decided you wanted to make a career out of it, exactly, where it went from something that I guess was a hobby or something you were good at, as you said, as a child. So what kind of led to that transition into this is what I want to do with my life? Exactly.
Well, man, I've always I played in bands for all my life, like 20 years, plus years playing in all kinds of bands and doing music and being on stage and performing in all kinds of capacities. But again, like just playing music and writing music and writing stories just kind of went hand in hand for me. So I would be done with practice or be done playing guitar or whatever and just start writing a story and go that way. But I mean, the music industry is a tough fucking industry too. Like, you guys know that. So it's just like, I'm good at this too, maybe this is gonna be better for me or whatever. And I just had a talent for it, so I just dug into it. And what was that? Did I answer the question?
Yes.
No, you answered the question. Yeah. You're good. Yeah.
And you kind of answered a question that I had, but if you wanted to build off of it more, if you want, but outside of writing, do you have any other inspiration that you get for your books, like other than music, or is music like your main avenue?
What do I get inspiration for my books from my music, or
like outside of writing? Like, does your lifestyle inspire you? Does other outside things inspire, or do you mainly just have to sit down and brainstorm about it?
Oh, I mean, I guess I get inspired by a lot of the things you could say. I am from starting a story point of view, like just to start there. I mean, I am constantly on the road and I meet tons of people and have like all these awesome experiences and live this is Halloween like every single fucking day of my life. And I make it look glamorous, I know, but it's a lot of hard work as well. It's always grinding. So I'm taking all these experiences in as I'm going, and I'll use little things like that to inspire me. Sometimes somebody will just say like one fucking thing and you're like, oh,
it kind of sets it off.
I gotta write that down.
Right.
But a lot of times when I'm writing I sit down to work on my work in progress that's like something longer, I don't typically outline any. I'm not really a
Mhm.
big outline guy. I've done outlines before. I've used different methods like John Skipp's note card method, and all of
Mhm.
those things are great. They just don't work for me necessarily. I'm kind of like I like to write by the seat of my pants, as myself and others have said, where I'll just start a sentence and be like, this could be a short story or this could be 50,000 words, and let's
Yeah.
just
Gotcha.
Kind of go with
and
the
it just
creative flow, more or less. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
yeah
completely understand. Because a lot
it,
of
it
people,
yeah.
go ahead.
Uh,
Sorry.
no, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was saying because a lot of people, it's either one or the other. They either like to, stick to a pretty strict regiment on, writing, like you said, you were talking about just outline every single detail. And, I've always been kind of the same way as a
Yeah.
writer, like just kind of free flowing. And then, characters build from there, story builds from there. So as long as you have like a concept, kind of run with it. That's just kind of what works for you.
Yeah, and I take notes as I go. I
Right.
have all these note apps in my phone, Google Keep. It's not branded content, but it's just an excellent app to take notes in. And
Mhm.
and I have a billion notebooks around me, like you would think. But yeah, I'm just writing down things in there constantly, and I'll take notes as I'm going. Like, oh, dude, remember to put this in this thing that you're
Mhm.
writing.
Yeah.
I'll be walking my dogs, and I'll talking to my phone.
Yeah.
And just like
So,
dictate like what I'm doing. But yeah, other than that, I just kind of sit and I'll get so in kind of engaged in what I'm doing. Oh, I know what I'm doing. Just go with the idea until I kind of like am done for the day. And I like to leave like the writing at the end of the day with like, I'm done writing today, but I know exactly where I'm gonna pick it up tomorrow. So no
mhm.
fucking excuses, like, oh, I don't know what I'm gonna do. Guess I'll sit
Yeah,
here.
exactly. So
You
you make
know,
sure to stay disciplined.
Yes.
Obviously,
I
and as many books as you've put out, that's
Eh,
pretty obvious, I would say.
Well, I do put out, but I am disciplined because that's one of the only things I'm good at, I think, is
Mhm.
being disciplined.
that
Um, I I threw that put out joke in there. Didn't land,
Oh,
but
I
let's
got
keep it in.
it.
No, let's
It
keep
might
it
land with
in.
a few people.
Let's
I
keep
got you.
that in
okay, yeah,
because
yeah, 100%,
because that
100%.
We'll leave that in.
Yeah.
these are the
We'll leave
these
it
are
in,
the
and we'll
golden
keep we'll
moments.
keep it an awkward silence,
Yeah.
and Trevor just have the camera panning on you, and it's like,
There
yeah,
is a
get the joke.
there's a explicit option for YouTube. I'll just do that.
There you go. Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll upload the explicit
Yeah,
version.
Oh, am
exactly.
I not supposed to cuss on this?
Oh no!
It's not a kid show.
Oh no!
No, you're good.
You're perfectly
good.
fine.
You are
Okay,
perfect.
You're fucking fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Leave. Yeah.
You're the
Fucking
host.
fine.
You're not
Goddamn right.
supposed to cuss. We'll have to bleep him out. He's the host. We're journeys. We gotta hold us to a higher standard. I'm joking.
Exactly.
I'm
Okay.
kidding. But
Hey
anyway.
man, I'm the artist. They gotta hang, dudes. Don't cancel them.
Yeah. So I gotta ask, what ignited your intrigue in the horror genre itself? Is this something you've liked
Okay.
since you were, a kid, or something that kind of evolved over time?
Well, it came like I saw that question, and I was like, I think about this sometime. I think about it a lot, and I've talked about it
Mhm.
different times. Like I think my love for horror and passion for it came out of being like don't don't look at that. You better not look at that. And when I was a kid, I grew up, my mom was very religious and kept a lot of things,
Yeah.
from us. And not only was it like, don't watch that, it was like the scariest, fucking thing ever is the church just like scaring you to death. Like, you're gonna go to hell if you do this and shit. And like that terrified me
Mhm.
until like I got older and I was like, oh, I don't have to be controlled by fear. This is pretend anyway. But it like
Yeah.
even moved me more to that stuff to check out like, oh, and the older I got, I would peek behind the curtain of horror and watch, shit on like USA Up All Night or whatever I could
Yeah.
get. But the things like my favorite horror movie of all time is The Gate. And that one's just cool because these kids play this metal record backwards and they
Mhm.
open the portal to hell, and they're home alone when it happens, and they have to close the portal, and then they like think they do, but they don't. And that like anything to do with like you put rock and roll and like the devil in anything, and I'm like,
You're
yeah,
like,
that's it. That's it.
moth to the flame,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's like then you look at like stuff I write, and there's yeah, you're like, yeah, I could see that because I do a
Yeah.
lot of
I was
things
gonna
like that, the
ask about
occult.
that too. you know, are you kind of writing for the horror, you know, in the horror genre? Like, are you able, you feel like you're able to get away with more and kind of push those boundaries, so to speak, you know? And I, like you said, you talked about your childhood and
Yeah.
being really, really religious upbringing. So you feel like, you know, now you kind of want to push it to the max, or is that kind of your thought process going into it? You feel like that the horror genre gives you a chance to explore, you know, what other genres really wouldn't? Because, like I said, a lot of really cut and dry or kind of
Yeah.
cookie cutter, so to speak. So,
Well, it's I mean, horror is genre fiction in itself, so like
right.
that lends its the genre fiction will lend itself to you being able to, you know, play on all sorts of you
Exactly.
know, intensities, I guess. I started to like go back a little bit. When I first cut my teeth was in bizarro fiction. That's where I first started
Okay.
getting stuff published. And I was very interested in bizarro fiction in like 2010 through 2011. I started getting into it and discovering it through an author, Jeremy Robert Johnson, who's excellent and like now is
Mhm.
amazing professional
Right.
author. And so I was into that, and I went to I started reading that stuff, and I was also at a period where I was writing all these stories and I didn't know
Mhm.
what to do with them. I would just write these stories and be like, I don't know where this goes. There's nothing like I worked for the Texas Review Press at Sam Houston State University, Eat 'em Up Cats, where I went to
Okay,
college.
cool.
It's a publishing house. It's a literary press that still works, but like I was looking at things from that point of view. I'm like, no one wants this story about a fucking, you know, bleeding building or some crazy shit like that. Like, where does this go? And I found Bizarro, and then it clicked, and I was like, this is where this goes. And so I started discovering all of these presses and imprints that put out Bizarro fiction, which is like horror, sci-fi, abstract, absurd, all
Right.
wrapped
Mhm.
together, and can be all of these things. And it can be, you know, tremendously artistic and moving and absolute shit. A lot
One or the
more
other, there's no in between, huh?
more often than not. Unfortunately, now it's not as good, but there's some really great bizarro stuff out there, and that's how I got in. And then I was like, okay, this now I could find, you know, I learned how to feel my way through getting things published by, you know, going to this event called BizarroCon, and then, you know, meeting these people and then communicating with them and seeing how
Mhm.
this all worked and putting it all together. And from that, I got branched into like, okay, I'm gonna write this kind of horror. I don't want to write bizarro. But to answer your question, to go back to circle back to 15 minutes ago,
You're
um,
fine. Yeah.
you said, does it offer you like, you know, the avenues like get all to go to the extreme or not? Like, yes,
Mhm.
it does. Like, there's a lot of like, you know, horror's like metal. There's a million subgenres.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
We got grind and sleep grind and shoegaze grind sleep and
Shoe dance grind.
yeah.
We have jazz
So
core, everything, you know.
yeah.
Folk
So
metal,
like,
you know.
Folk metal.
exactly. Horror is exactly like that. I mean, it really
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
There's all kinds of like different you know, subgenres, but there's extreme horror. I don't necessarily write in the extreme horror
Mhm.
vein. I don't think I'm not really an extreme horror author. I'm more of like a Twilighty Zone, you know, mind
Mhm.
bendy type of thing. But like, you know, my you know, good friend and amazing horror author Christopher Triana, like he
Mhm.
writes extreme horror very well. Not all of his stuff is extreme horror, but he's known for that a lot,
Yes.
and
Right.
he like
That's his shtick.
does it amazingly. Like Shane McKenzie is another one that writes really great extreme horror. And yeah, you can start reading, like if you start there, like read some of that stuff, read some anthologies like DOA 123 and that kind of shit. You'll be like, oh God. When you
Yeah,
read
it's
stuff,
definitely.
when you read something and you're reading it and you feel like not just dirty for reading it, you feel like, I think I might get arrested after
I might get
close this
arrested.
book. Like when you have that
Should I be reading
feeling,
this?
you know that like, okay, shit, they know how to do this. You know what I mean? So
Yeah. What's
so
the
they yeah,
we could talk about
but
one of the most recent books that
Yeah.
you've put out if you like. So, you know, just some of your books in general that you'd like to,
sure.
you know, chat about if you'd like to.
Yeah, shoot. But
Um we could talk some about Death Packs and Left Hand Paths if you'd like.
yeah, either one. Death Packs is you know, that was the first book that I had come out on Grindhouse Press.
Okay.
Um and that one was like it kind of straddles the bizarro and horror angle,
Mhm.
like where I was at the time, because it's got a little bit of everything that I do in there. There's some humor and, you know, occult shit and some horror stuff. But that's a great book that I have sold a lot of those, and I'm really proud of that one, because being on Grindhouse Press was like a huge accomplishment. Just to get accepted to them, I was like, oh shit, man. Like fuck where I was on 9/11. I remember when I got the email from Carrie being like, you got accepted, and I was like,
yeah.
I know exactly where I was. So it's like that's really cool. So that book has always got a special place for me. Is there someone holding a gun to your head off camera? Like you keep looking up there, someone's like telling you like don't look.
Yeah, our administrator, she has one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Aaron, you have one job.
She's like,
she is.
Get him back on topic. Get him back on topic.
She has to keep us on task. So
funny. The last.
You're the first person to mention that. Probably not the first person to think it. So.
Oh, like I told you, I'm dumb. I just that reminds me of like
that was funny as hell though.
That was funny.
At Virtual Killer Con 2020, I was on the only panel I was on was like drugs and writing, like, and I was like, what?
Wait,
why am I'm on this one? Like and I was like, okay. And I was actually in a hotel room that weekend. The con was canceled. This was during like fucking COVID and all crazy shit, but you could still get a room. And I went and got a room just to like get away for a weekend and just in like still in Houston, and just like, I'm gonna write and I'm gonna do this, and I'll do my panel from there. And I like first night just got absolutely hammered. I was playing guitar like I was Axl Rose in my room, just like,
oh gosh.
Just like singing. I was Instagram living, you know.
I was gonna ask, did this go live?
Yeah.
Did people get to see this?
It's still on my Instagram, and I think I started.
Check this out. I don't know.
Start in the bathroom, I believe. If you see me, like, hey, I'm here, and I'm like just singing, and like my buddy Nick came up, and you know, we just stayed up all night.
Turn it off now.
No, we stayed up all night drinking, and like I've told this story on my podcast before.
That's
and
so
like
funny.
maybe like you know, a little extracurricular activities kept me way into the wee hours. And then I slept for a half an hour and got up, and I was like, I gotta do this panel.
Oh, forgot about that.
I was like, I guess this is why I'm on the drug panel, huh? But we're on it, and we're just talking about like experiences. It's me, John Skip, Lisa Quintero from Clash, and a couple other people, and the administrator's like down here in the corner, and I can see him like doing like something, and he's like typing and ignoring us. He's like, guys, can I interrupt you for a second? Okay, I'm getting from our producer that's listening, says get them back on topic about writing. Tell them to stop talking about drugs. And we're like, this is called the drug panel. Like,
it's in the name.
So that was funny. That just reminded me of that.
That is pretty funny. Do you have a whole lot of trouble during the pandemic as far as live events are concerned? Because I know you like to, travel and do a lot of those. So I didn't know if you had much trouble with that.
Oh yeah, my entire
switching to virtual, it seems like it would be kind of odd as well. But I'm not sure. Did you nail it or have trouble with it?
Well, like everybody's whole year got canceled. I had like a year's worth of con dates that were canceled and moved and continuously bumped, and as things went on. But I started going out to do like local stuff when they would let us around October, and like then in the end of October I was like in Vegas doing a convention. Like I was like, fuck this.
Oh, okay.
So I did travel when I could, and like within guidelines of being safe. The virtual cons and like virtual readings and that kind of stuff, it's never for me. Like I want to say like they'll get it. It'll get to where it's like a cool thing, but right now for me personally, if I'm sitting in a room listening to people read or watching a panel, like I'm in the room, like I can't do anything but at my computer with this shit on. Well, I'm smoking bowls. I'm like, hey, Vinny, get in here. Yeah, this guy, I'm up and down. I can't just.
Too many distractions, I guess, and that's in that kind of setting. I see what you're.
And that's on me more than anything else, but it's just not the same. I like to be in person more than.
Gotcha.
I think they'll nail it down. A lot of those like events had to really improvise too, and they just kind of went the virtual route, which there are quite
Yeah.
a few that have made it work. You know, some of the bigger events, but you know, for the most part, it's just kind of a matter of authors in general having to adapt. You know, as well as the ones that put on
Yeah.
these events. So
Yeah,
yeah.
and they did like everyone that was putting on like virtual cons did
Mhm.
like awesome jobs, you know, in the on the fly trying to put them together. It's
Hmm.
just one of those things where like it'll get there, I think, if they want to keep doing them. One thing that was weird is like doing virtual vending that some of these ones would have like a
Hmm.
it's a weekend of like vending from the whatever page, you know, and I'm like
Oh, okay. Okay.
Had to basically go on there and be
I
a
have
salesperson.
a web store. Like, what am I gonna do? Like, basically, it was setting like a link up for them to have on their website for them to click that would take them back to my website where they would buy the stuff. And I'm like, what am I
It's a
doing?
little
Why? Why?
counterproductive.
That
Yeah.
makes no sense.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah. It's all they had to
that's
work out the kinks,
it
I
makes
guess.
no sense. But it's I think it was one of those like we're gonna get together and promote each other and it'll be great, you know, and we'll all be on this page and like that. I was
Yeah,
just
we'll
Yeah.
see.
Yeah.
I
anyway. See, those
gotcha.
kind of
Yeah.
things are just kind of weird. Yeah,
I gotcha. I was gonna
but
ask,
yeah,
you
sometimes
know,
they work.
since it's predominantly, you know, like a podcast for mostly authors and you know writers and readers that do watch it. So I was gonna ask specifically, and I like to ask different people we have on about the publishing process itself, because you know, aspiring
Yeah.
authors in particular, you know, tend to just go to the point that they lose their inspiration for it because like I said, it can be a pretty dog eat dog world out
Yeah.
there, you know.
Oh yeah. Oh
And it's
yeah.
a difficult process. So I was kind of curious about you know, what it was like for you. I mean, you know, years of struggle. I mean, what did you do exactly? Did you try to like seek out an agent? I know you've self-published a few books, haven't you? And
No, I actually
you
have
haven't
not
self-published at all?
self-published
None at all.
anything.
Oh.
Okay.
No,
So you
no.
have a publisher for each book. Okay, nice.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
talk a bit
no,
about
I
that.
don't say that to be like, oh, look at me. That's just
No,
how
no.
it went. Like, so yes, it's a grind. Like, first of
Hmm.
all, if you're like gonna be like seriously like I'm gonna be a writer, like I have certain things that I believe, like, yes, I think you have to write every day. I
Hmm.
think you have to like the discipline stuff that I do. But as far as like getting published, it's like in the arts and like in music, there's a lot of rejection
Hmm.
that
Yeah.
happens. It's just a part of it. It's just rolled into
Hmm.
it. You're not as cool as you think you are. Get
Yeah.
that in your head from the start, like right then,
Hmm.
and go. And that's I like to call it like a callus that you build up. Like one of the calluses is
Absolutely.
rejection because you have to get to a point where you know it's happening, but you cannot take it personally. You cannot let it just
Yeah.
be this
Hmm.
devastating, demoralizing thing every time you get a rejection because that's probably what's going to happen 99 out of
Hmm.
100 times, you know, until, you know, you keep you going. Everything like builds on a foundation, you know, you start like when I started submitting stuff, I still have it. I keep it up to date to this day, this
Hmm.
huge Excel spreadsheet document that I set up where it has everything that I've submitted, like the
Hmm.
date, where it goes, the site, da, 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 and then it's just like accept, reject, and then all the stuff. But like dude, it just goes like reject for like just 200
Mostly
lines
rejection.
for forever, and then till it gets to like one like accept, and then like accept. But and it's hard at first. I'm not saying that I was like, that's all right, I'm fine, I'll keep
Hmm.
going. No, it does suck. It is hard. But it's just like you got to keep going, and that's like what
Hmm.
you said earlier about people losing their inspiration or you know or getting discouraged, and that's just one of those things you have to plow through.
Hmm.
It's like the thing that kills most people doing things that they want to do is
Absolutely.
they give up. They just give
Yeah.
up. Like you just can't give up. That's like the main
You
thing.
you kind of have to take it like as a challenge and not a letdown.
Exactly. And take and look at it like this, just because it's rejected doesn't mean it's bad. It means it's not for
Exactly.
them.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And you know, unless it is bad, then make it better. No, but you
Yeah.
will get better. Like as far as like the more you do it, like anything, like learning an instrument, like it all builds,
Hmm.
Yeah.
all that stuff
Absolutely.
builds
Exactly.
on it,
It's an
builds on itself.
opportunity. It's an opportunity to, you know, like improve your writing
Yeah.
skills, essentially. So,
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it's like, oh, good.
Sorry. I do have a question, and it's like in my head, it doesn't sound like that big of a question, but I'm curious about your thoughts. Um, have you ever had an idea, whether it's a character, a world, or just a story itself, that didn't make it onto paper? That
That
like
didn't make it onto
like
paper.
like you were like, oh, this looks good, but whenever you go to put it into writing, you
Story
just
format just didn't work at the time.
yeah
Maybe something you'd recycle and
yeah.
revisit later on, I guess.
Does that
Oh,
happen all the
dude.
time, or is that a rare case?
It happens a lot. Like
Okay,
it's
I figured it wouldn't be that big.
I I no, I've talked about this before because there have been there have been like whole novels I've written that are just like that's not going anywhere. Like, and I
Okay.
like the most recent example I would say like I wrote a splatter western for Death's Head Press. I just finished writing it, it'll come out next year
Uh-huh.
in the second wave. But I sat down to write this thing 3 different times before I actually
Wow.
wrote it. In that I wrote
Okay.
30,000 words of this what I thought my story was going to be. And I was like, this kind of sucks. And I went back and rewrote it from the trying to like refine it all out. And I was like, this sucks too. And then I threw it all away again and I was like, I'm gonna do it from the point of view of these two characters instead. And I wrote another 30,000 words and I was like, this is just
This sucks too.
like abandoned ship. So that's like, yeah, that's
So is that like the same idea behind the bleeding building thing that you were talking about?
yeah, I mean, you like like I said, writing every day. It's easy.
Yeah.
Some days it's hard as hell. Some days,
Yeah.
like if you can struggle to write like a sentence sometimes, and that's good enough. Like that's better than not doing anything, and it keeps you doing it, and you want to try to build, set a goal for yourself every day, all that kind of stuff. But you may write like this, you may be like, oh, fuck yeah, dude, I feel so good this morning. Da 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 la. Oh my God, sunshine flies out of my ass when I'm writing this. This is amazing. And then, it's like 10 pages and you're like, hey, honey, it's time for school. No, mom, I'm on a roll here, call me Steve. We're tired. We're gonna and you go through this whole thing and then you look at it like the next day and you're like, oh shit. And it's a
Oh, what have
pile
I
of
done? Yeah.
steaming pile of shit. However, all that time, all that writing, there may be one sentence in there that you're like, okay, this is, let me pull this out, or just a nugget of an idea that it's like is in there and you're like, oh, okay. So you have to like wade through all this shit to get to the good stuff. Like you have to do scales for hours at with the metronome before you can start ripping up solos and all
Absolutely.
that kind of stuff.
That's
You
a
know what I
perfect
mean?
example.
Yeah.
I've like going off of writing for just a second, like as a video producer, I've had like an idea to where I can make it at home. I wrote down the outline, the shots, and I recorded it all in that same day. Then I edited it and I exported it while I was asleep. Woke up the next day and rewatched it just to make sure everything was good to go. I'm like, and then at that point I was like, why did I have this idea?
Like, oh man, did I set this to oh, I did. Oh
yeah,
no.
I've done that so many times. Like
that's funny.
Like I'll schedule it and then I'll be like, you know what? I don't think it already has 100 views. Okay, never mind.
So I can't think of the author who said this, but do you adhere about the whole what is it, write drunk, edit sober sort of thing? Do you go by that? Because that tends to really help with inspiration if you're having a writer's block, I would say. Any kind of substance, I suppose. Is it something you do?
I don't know who said that.
I'd have to look it up.
I suppose that you could do that. I don't know. That's one of those things that it's different for every writer. Like
Right.
there's no, I don't hide it. I smoke weed like for a living on the internet. Like, so I'm always smoking weed and I just do because it's a part of my lifestyle. It helps me to deal with this reality. It's like, it's what I need to live. So just lay off of me, man. Are you guys cops? Come on. No.
We are.
But yeah, so I always am doing that. But I don't.
We're blocked down from your house right now.
Damn, that van that says like flowers by
yes,
Isabel
that's where
outside.
we're recording from. Actually, yeah, this backdrop is fake.
We are the ice cream truck that's down the road.
See you in 10 minutes.
I do that. I will have some beers if I sometimes I mainly will drink beers when I'm playing guitar. That just kind of lends itself. But however, with writing, with playing guitar, with drawing, I don't need to have like anything to do those things. And I like to
Okay.
make that clear because I'm always like, people like, perception is reality a lot of times. They're like, man, this guy's high all the time. And you're right, I am. But I don't have to be high to write
Not a
or
requirement.
Yeah.
play music. I'll sit
Mhm.
down in the morning and write for several hours completely sober, but then I'll go back and get high and write again. It doesn't matter. Like, it's the same thing with a lot of like Triana and I have this thing about listening to music when you write and edit. Like, he has a certain belief on it and I have a certain belief on it. And like I like to listen to music. There's certain things I like to listen to when I'm writing or put on.
Absolutely.
That help the process. Like, and I listen to a lot of records because I collect vinyl. You can see like probably all this
Yeah.
back.
Yeah.
But I talk about that a lot because it helps sometimes. Just the active experience of having to get up, flip that record, sit back down is like
Exactly.
a reset sometimes that you need when you're writing.
Yeah.
Now it can be viewed as a disruption, and it can be. But if you're like catching the spirit or whatever, then
Mhm.
just don't touch the record. Keep going. But
Yeah.
sometimes if you're kind of plodding along, that helps reset you. Get up, you do that.
Kind of give you like a slight
Yeah.
break, I guess, and if you're as disciplined as you are, you wouldn't have any trouble
Yeah.
with that. So I was curious,
go
are
ahead.
you currently writing on anything new? Any new projects in the works?
Yeah. Well,
Talk a little bit about those if you can without giving too much away.
Yeah,
though.
exactly.
yeah, absolutely. Well, I do have some things already like signed, coming out, done. The next book that will be coming out I have is called The Cadillac Man, and it's going to be out from Death's Head Press sometime before the
Okay.
end of this year. And it's the thing. I wrote this over the pandemic. This was like the time when people were like, either I can't do anything, I'm crippled by fear, or like I must do everything. Like, I was already home, like I was already working, like doing stuff.
You're
So
like,
not a lot
nothing's changed
changed.
a whole lot.
I'm like, where the hell? Like Bill Hicks, where the hell's all this happening out there?
Yeah,
But
exactly.
so it's this
That's like a perfect
massive.
reference.
Yeah.
Nice.
Fuck. Can somebody get Ted Turner laid so I can get some good news around here? But yeah, it's what I wrote over the pandemic time. It's like my longest work. It's 130,000 ish words.
Our administrator in the background, she is like laughing.
She's dead
This
laughing.
is the first time this has ever happened. She is like over here croaking. She's laughing so hard.
I love Bill
She
Hicks.
never loses
Bill Hicks.
composure. So
Bill
she
Hicks is
she
from
put the
Houston.
gun down and she's laughing now. So.
I told you I'd get you guys out of this.
Hell yeah.
You're standing there holding up today's paper and shit. Like, please help us. It's the date.
That's hilarious.
It's like nod your head twice to the right.
Blink twice,
yeah.
right? Morse code.
Yeah, Morse code in your eye.
Yeah. You got her over here. She was like, double laughing.
These guys are blinky, man. I have a good podcast, but they sure blink a lot, man. I don't know.
Oh, that's great.
So the Cadillac Man.
Where were we? Yes, go ahead. Sorry.
It's like 130,000 word, my longest like thing to date. It's very long. And it's kind of broken into 3 parts, and it's very cool, and deals with evil and an overarching theme, and nothing is good, and the indiscriminate nature of things that happen. So it's pretty cool. No, I'm proud of it. It'll be out later, and it'll be like this doorstop of a book. So hey, get it and put it by your door if you don't like it, or it'll keep you warm in the winter. Like I mentioned, my splatter western, that's finished.
Yes.
That'll come out next year. Tentatively titled "All of Your Dreams Will Come True When You're Dead," which I believe that's.
I love that.
That's good.
I love that.
It came from one of the bands I used to play in was called Letters to Voltron. And I think the song is probably on YouTube and like on Spotify and shit. But we had a song called "All of Your Dreams Will Come True When You're Dead," and it was just like all of this kind of guitar and rhythm and shit going on. And I just would say, "Do me in the salon," like all like in the background, and then we hit this fucking heavy chorus and just say, "All of your dreams will come true when you're dead." And that's always stuck with me. And last night we were trying to figure out, like, me and Nick P were like writing down all these words, like keywords. We're like, I want to find something cool to call this fucking thing, man. We're just going through all this stuff, and then we land on like, how about all your dreams come true when you're dead? and that's like,
It's
that's it.
catchy for sure.
Let's do it. So that'll be coming out. But I am working on something new. That was something I started like, I'm done with this Western. Now I'm gonna sit here and just let my mind go somewhere. And it's like it's kind of like it just started as like gonna be a short story about a local legend and these kids going to check it out, and his brother trying to scare his little sister. And it just this idea has blossomed into this huge thing. So every day I'm just like it's gotten a lot longer than I intended it to be, and that's what she said. But it's probably I had to get one in there.
I love you, dude. I
let a lot of those go by, and I was like, I gotta catch that one. So
gotta put one of them in. That's also what she said.
That damn it. Okay. Yeah,
that's also what she said.
Phrasing.
So yeah, so I'm working on that right now, and I have a short story collection I put together. I'm
cool.
Gonna chip away at that every once in a while and get that for
cool.
something.
Looking forward to it for
yeah.
Sure. So anything. Shut up, I'm going first.
All right, fair enough.
So I was gonna ask, because you talked, obviously you're out on the road, you do music and everything. So have any of your experiences, musically speaking, influenced your writing? Anything that are happened, kind of crazy or fiction, that have fueled things that have happened in your books? You taken from real life events, or just anything, like I said, musically that's influenced you as a writer, and or anything in your book specifically?
Well, I write for this show. I've been writing for this show in Houston called Grown Up Storytime.
Okay.
That's a creative nonfiction event where like you write a short story about something that happened to you, like, oh Jesus, you won't believe it, man. And you submit it. If they accept it, somebody else in the arts performs your story at the show, and that they read your story, and like it'll be a comedian or somebody else that's so it's a great show. I've done it for over 10 years. It really saved my life. So saying that, I've written many stories about experiences on the road, from that are actual stories that have been like performed in that. I have this collection that I don't have it on my table anymore, but it's still available, called John Wayne Lied to You. That's 12 creative nonfiction stories about stuff from my life. So I have had many interesting things happen to me on the road, and I've written the stories about them, and of course taken little bits and pieces from that and put them in fiction works and stuff. But yeah.
We have yet to touch on this specific topic yet, so I figured out, like I would ask, what is your process in creating a book cover? Do you write a whole story first and then be like, okay, this is what I have to work with, how can I put this into a catchy art, or do you at some point be like, this imagery would look cool, how can I turn that into a story? Like, what would be your process behind a book cover?
That's interesting. That's like do you write the lyrics or the music first type of question.
Yeah, fair enough.
I just myself, I write the story first. I may have something in my mind, like an image, like, it'd be a cool cover. The way that's handled typically is the publisher will take care of the cover, and like,
gotcha.
If you have a good publisher, like you work together and have like a combined vision for what that is.
Exactly.
But a lot of times it'll depend on their budget, or who they may be already working with, a set artist, or so sometimes it's a little bit out of your control as far as that aspect is. But I like to keep a pretty tight grip on how my books look, so I like insist on being just at least in the process. The only cover that I've done myself is the cover for As Seen on TV, just because I was sketching it and I sent it to Carrie at Grindhouse Press, and she was like, "Oh yeah, do this, keep doing it."
Go for it.
So
right.
they ended up using it. But I do a bunch of art myself too, like my tarot cards and all my banners and stuff like that.
You do get to have a lot of creative freedom then, at least, so that's good. Because a lot of publishers are just like, they won't really give that to their authors, but particularly bigger ones, they're just take it and run with it and do what they want. So that's really cool that you're able to do that. So.
Yeah.
Has it been this kind of? I know you said you've done the artwork for that book, but is it the same artist that has done the artwork? Because it seems pretty consistent. From or is it different ones?
No, I think they're all different. Yeah, they're all different artists.
They all kind of nailed.
Oh well, I think Carrie's put together a couple of those covers, so maybe she's done a few. Yeah, but like, like Nick Gucker did the art for Death Packs and Left Hand Paths with the bat on it and stuff, and he's awesome. He's at Nick the Hat on Instagram. He's done a lot of comic art and Mad Magazine and stuff. The cover of Scummer, like with that dumpster, Carrie from the CV Hunt, that's a watercolor painting that she did for, because she had a vision. She's like, I have a great idea for the cover, and did this painting, and that's what the cover is. So so I guess I have a couple of things. Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
What would be your favorite backstory / idea that you've ever wrote? Whether it's a world, the story itself, or a character. Like, what's your favorite part of any of your books? If you have one. If not, then have top 3 if you have those.
Backstory. Well, maybe I guess the sinkhole backstory is pretty funny.
Okay. And without spoiling too much, do you want to talk about it, or do you just want?
Oh yeah, no, I'll tell you.
Okay,
No,
cool.
yeah.
Okay, cool.
This is like even in the pitch. I will tell people a little bit about this. But so I live in Houston. I don't know if we talked about that. Houston, Texas.
Texas.
I know you guys are in the van outside, so you know that. But
yes, exactly.
We know where you live. Yeah.
Totally.
Yes. But when Hurricane Harvey hit and there was all that flooding and crazy shit, I actually had a sinkhole in my backyard after the thing went, like after the water went down. I was like, what the hell? And I didn't even know, like I kind of like half noticed it, but was like doing that thing where I like, that'll go away. Like, and Nick P, Nick P is my like best friend. He travels everywhere with me. I keep like referencing him. He's not like my husband or lover or anything, but we will get married. We will get married in certain states if we can get a tax break. So definitely we will do that.
When that happens, congratulations, more power to you.
Exactly.
So.
Yeah. No, he's my, he goes everywhere with me. We've been friends for fucking ever, and he travels with me to cons and helps me, and help in quotes. But he was like, dude, I think that's like a sinkhole in your yard. And I was like, no, dude, this isn't Florida. That's not a sinkhole. But we kept watching it, and it kept actually, this divot just kept getting deeper and deeper. And I was like, what the fuck, man? Like, throw
Here we go.
the ball and see if the dogs like fall in. Like, they're still good. They're still good. But we would sit, like, he and I were actually writing for these sketches for a show called Neo Benchy here in Houston. So we had to film these sketches for the show every month, and we would meet and write every week. And we just started coming up with these ideas, and he was like, dude, what if there's like a bus down there in that hole? Like, it opens up. I was like, why would there be a bus down there? He's like, I don't know, man. What if a fucking bus was down there and shit, and like, and I was like, did you just watch like Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2? And he's like, no, we should watch that. And so we did. And like, there's the bus in that, but anyway,
school bus.
We like segue so much in our when we talk, but I took from that little conversation that idea. And so what Sinkhole is about is a massive hurricane hits East Texas 52 years in the past. In the present, back then, one of the tornadoes picks up a bus of kids and takes them away. They're gone. In the present day hurricane, it's the same area, and this dude has a sinkhole in his backyard. It opens up, and the bus is down there. And the kids climb out to eat for the first time in 52 years.
Wow.
So they're ghoulish.
That's a pretty cool concept.
That's awesome.
And that one just
came from that. Yeah, real life experience.
Yeah, that just came from that stupid joke that we made. And that's just a straight horror story. It goes over one night.
That's so cool.
That was awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is kind of off topic from writing, but still the answer may or may not include one of your stories. I know that you have a lot of tattoos on you. Have you? I know a lot of bands will do it with like their favorite artist, or put like a microphone like on their arm. Do you have a tattoo on you that is based off of like a writing experience that you had, or maybe a book or a story?
Maybe even one of your own concepts from your book.
Yeah.
As far as like writing tattoos go, I do have like on my top knuckles. See that?
Yeah.
Right now.
Okay,
like
nice.
So like that was like, so when you like start getting your hands tattooed and shit, you're like, okay, we're in it now. So you might as well get. You're like, there's a see you later jobs, and so I got that because I was like, man, I want to get something cool. Like usually I'm down to get the stupidest shit, man. For real, I've got some dumb tattoos, but they're all awesome. But that was really something, writing, because I was, it's one of those things where it's like, what should I be doing? I should be writing now, like right now, like ooh, wordplay. Aren't it creative?
It is
And then
creative though.
on this hand, on my right hand, the other finger knuckle, whatever it says, GUST. That's Grown Up Story Time. That story I was the show I told you about.
Grown Up
I
Story
wrote
Time.
for. Yeah, that's what the show is called. So like I said, I wrote for them for so long. It's very important to me. And then on this one, I saved these knuckles until I got this. It's NBAS, which stands for the New Bizarro Author Series, which Eraserhead Press was doing, all these years in a row. And I had submitted to it before I even went to BizarroCon and met any of these people. I had submitted like 2 years in a row. And then I started submitting, and when I finally got it accepted into that, like I got that tattooed like that day.
Nice.
So those are like all my writing related tattoos, but otherwise, like,
okay, those are awesome though. And it's always scary to me, like whenever I see finger tattoos, because I think they mean business.
Yeah.
And like you said, I mean, like the finger tattoos are becoming more common though. It's the face now. It's like, oh, you're far gone now. You get the face tattoo. There you go.
Hell, like tattoos in general are becoming more common.
Yeah, exactly.
But anyway, yeah.
That was a good question. Well, you know what? We're out of time, and Aaron has cocked the gun, so it's time for us. We gotta stop this.
All right.
I'm playing. But anyways, so if you want to, be sure to plug your social media. Time for shameless plugs and whatnot.
Yeah, exactly. Do you have anything upcoming? Any links?
Yeah, absolutely. Everyone can find all of my stuff at johnwayneisdead.com. It's got all of the dates that I'll be on the road. I'm about to leave for like 5-6 weeks in a row, I think. I'm pretty much on the road until December straight. So if I'm coming to your city, like hit me up and we'll like have some beers and stuff.
Oh, definitely.
All my dates
we'll collaborate.
I have a shop on there, so you can buy all my books on there, but my books are everywhere. Amazon, Barnes and Noble, all that stuff. You can get books, but if you buy them from me, I'll sign them and send you like extra stuff and all those goodies. But check out my podcast every Monday called John Wayne Lied to You. Every Thursday, another one called Vital Social Issues and Stuff with Chris and John Wayne. Check out my patreon.com/John Wayne is Dead. I also do a podcast on there every Wednesday called the Awesome Dude for Life Boner Bonus Podcast, where I talk to the artists from around the country that I meet. Like, so a lot of them are recorded in my hotel rooms.
That's awesome.
And some of them are, we'll do Skype or whatever when we can, but like that's like I just did my 79th episode of that. These all come out weekly, so these are all ways to check me out.
And hopefully we can definitely collaborate and meet up, because we're about to take things back on the road and do some conventions. So we're going to be doing like podcasting and everything from the area and from wherever we're at, some events and streaming. So maybe we can get together and get something going.
And I will have your link down in the description, but if you want to send me an email with all the other ones if you want, and I'll put those on there.
Yeah, we'll plug that.
Absolutely.
So. Hey, it was awesome chatting with you. I've had a blast. Glad we met up at the convention. It was awesome. So
thank you guys so much. I appreciate the support, and thanks for asking me to be on the show. Of course,
no problem. We've had a blast.
You've been amazing.
Such entertaining.
And
for sure.
And you'll be back in the future.
Definitely.
Oh yeah, anytime.
Whenever the book comes out, we'll keep up with it. We'll have you back on if you want to come back on. So
absolutely,
definitely,
absolutely.
Well, hey, it was great. So
indeed, and for on camera, all of our links are down below. Twitter and Instagram. All the podcast links, audio only, because obviously you're on the video now, are down below as well. And yeah, thank you, John, for joining. And
see you.
You got it, man.
Yeah, we'll see you.
Thank you for joining us at Front Page Pass, where we present everything from new titles to rocking interviews with best-selling authors and publishing experts, writing and editing tips, the latest on the bookshelves for readers, and live coverage of writers' festivals, conferences, and author signings. Our mission: to serve up the world in a thrilling, wonderful, and most adventurous new way.